We're going to make a change in design decision here. The ground plane issue is worrying me just a little bit because the output voltage from the ESC is factory set at 8.4 volts. And I really don't want to have the possibility of a negative ground plane reversing current coming back onto the ground side of the flight controller. And this is very unlikely, but it's possible depending on the design of the back voltage regulator. So what we're going to do is, instead of using the ground plane on the flight controller and moving ground wires, we're going to leave all of the control wires floating, and they'll just sit on top of their own battery ground, provided by a separate battery and a separate voltage regulator. This is just a signal, should be about 3.5 volts, and it'll just ride on top of the already existing 5 volts on the rail and ground plane that's there. We'll do that to all the wires, and then we'll run the 8.4 volts from the back from there to power the receiver, because it's already designed for 8.4 volts. So we'll put the ground wire back on with the red wire and put that on an odd pin out, pin number 6 and pin number 5 for the power supplies, and run those back to the ESC and to the back and to the servo. And then the rest of the control wires, the 3 control wires for the flight mode, the throttle flight control signal, and the servo steering flight control signal, will just be single white wires that carry the control voltage of 3.5 volts from the receiver to the input side of the flight controller. Then they'll go through the output, basically, which is not connected using a jumper cable. They're totally isolated rails, but the circuitry will control the output for the steering, which will be on pin number 4 as rudder, and the throttle, which will be on pin number 3 back to the ESC servo and flight controller connection. I think this will be a better decision to prevent any possible short circuiting from too high of a voltage regulation or some kind of a ground plane issue that could exist between the two different separated battery circuits.